What is up, guys? We're here in downtown Miami with one of our students. His name is Wesley. He's inside checking out a location. Wesley has been working with us for 2 months, and his sales have grown by 43% throughout those 2 months. It's insane results. He had one location in Chicago. He opened up his second. It's outperforming expectations like crazy. We're now in Miami looking for more locations to expand to. He's opening up a third one in Milwaukee, already signed the lease. We're looking at 2 more locations here in Miami for the 4th and 5th. So today we're gonna be unpacking his success, asking him some questions, doing an interview with him. I hope you guys enjoy and take massive takeaways for yourself. Enjoy today's video.
How you doing, man?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Yep.
How was it?
It's good flight.
Good?
Wesley, so take us back 3 months ago before we even met. Where was the business at?
Yeah, so 3 months ago before I started working with you guys, we were at one location. We were planning on opening our second one already, and it was like I think we were like 3 weeks or 2 weeks out from opening our second location.
And you had like a second location before, but then you closed it down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, why does that happen?
So yeah, we started our first location in like July 2021, and we opened our second location in February 2022, and that location really didn't work for us because it was fairly close to our first location, and it was kind of cannibalizing and eating each other up. That was one of the reasons. The second reason was we were pushing our first brand, Takeabout Eats, which is kind of like a Chinese sandwich concept that really didn't have much legs, and we decided to kind of shut that down and what's that called,
Rebrand?
reevaluate what we're doing, because we already had the bowls of rice brand that we're running out of, but it wasn't our main focus. Right. But after like just stepping back a little, analyzing like what went wrong, what went right, and what could we do more of, we realized that like we could really scale bowls of rice because it had the returning customers, people liked the product, the margins were there in terms of cost of goods, and the throughput was there. So what we did is just essentially kept improving it over time, and then it came to a point where we were doing better like 3 months after closing the second location compared to having 2 locations.
Really? Like more sales?
More sales, right? Because we figured out what worked, and we decided to like lever marketing on that brand, double down what was working. And then I think bowls of rice in I would say March 2022 was doing about an average 22 orders a day. And then
2022 when you had the one location?
the second location after we opened second location.
Okay.
Around like 22 orders a day. And then after we closed the second location in August of 2022 and just like shut it down and paid the rent out. But by December of 2022, bowls of rice average orders were doing about like 170 orders on bowls of rice, right? So we just figured out, okay, this bed concept has better legs in terms of growth, so we can like spend marketing and kind of get that snowball effect that we weren't getting with our first concept. We're just spending more money, and then what's that called, the ROAS kept going down because it didn't have that same effect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It didn't have that product market fit.
Right. Right. Interesting. So that was December of 2023, right? Or 2024?
In terms of
When you were doing 115 orders per day.
bowls of rice,
2022.
2022 December.
2022. So then you opened up the second location already when we met in January of 2025.
We signed. So
Signed. We had lease.
I started working with you guys in January 2025, and we were planning to open in February 2025. Yeah, so that mindset was kind of different too. Before working with you guys, it was just, okay, let's just get the right systems on how to open the second one. And then, okay, how do we open the third one? What really clicked was, speaking with Alex, was that you should plan for a lot of them. Like build your systems to be able to sustain a lot of locations rather than just like one at a time because it's going to switch over every time.
Yeah.
So that's what really clicked for us was like, okay, we're building something to be able to scale to like over 40, 50 locations. So the SOPs and the things that the thought process has to kind of change a little.
Yeah.
It's not how can I do it better? It's okay, what can we do and who can do it?
Yeah. It's more about talent at that point. You start to build management systems. What do you think shifted in terms of management for you? Like your way of thinking about management?
Mm-hmm. It's what shift was really like setting a goalpost for a team and keeping them accountable.
Okay.
Like kind of each step of the way, we're understanding. Okay, there is effort and there is results, right? We were mainly just measuring results,
Yeah.
and not really teaching our managers how to think about those results. And we're kind of doing the thinking for them. Now we're really just letting them see the results and letting them like come up with their own solutions to improve on those results.
So give me an example. How would a conversation go between you and a manager if there's a specific metric that's lacking?
Right. Well, let's say let's say my manager didn't hit the labor percentage. Back then, we would more be like, okay, well, this is what you have to do. How about do this, try this. Now it's like
ideas, basically.
now
Thinking for him.
right, exactly. Now it's more like, okay, he gives us the results and he lets us know if it's good results, bad results, or whatever the results are, and then him coming up and analyzing the results himself, why it was bad, why it was good, and then he comes up with his own solutions on how to keep improving it, rather than us or me, the top management kind of like tell him what to do.
Right.
So it kind of helped them grow a lot faster in terms of skill sets, in terms of making the right decisions, because that if we didn't do that, I was going to be the bottleneck
Yeah. Yeah.
because I would have to make
He would just
decisions.
follow orders.
Right.
It's like a military. When you're building a military, the guy up above can't make all the decisions. There's like little strategic decisions that have to be made on the battlefield. So you have to have good generals and lieutenants that are able to make decisions for you.
And it's that shift is initially was kind of like hard because we're so in it.
Of course.
It's more of like, okay, you kind of have to let them make the decision and let them make the mistake, rather than hand-holding, because you can't hand-hold 100 people.
Yeah. What challenges were you facing when you were hand-holding people?
Pretty much, I was doing all the thinking, and if I was doing all the thinking, I might as well have done all the work.
Yeah. Right. That's funny. So you think this is a lot more scalable once you have people?
Yeah, I didn't think it would have been a problem until I faced it, and I would have to change then. But it's good to see that I'm removing a constraint that I would see later on.
Right. What made you look for help though? Like what made you even potentially explore getting a mentor, someone to coach you through this?
Yeah, I was always the type of person who liked to learn from other people and learn from people who've been there and done that.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think I'm that, I would say, talented or skilled. I just like to learn from people who are.
Yeah.
And at each step of the way, I don't know something. And if I don't learn from someone else, it's going to take a lot of time for me to figure it out. And I found that the best way is just to learn from people who has 10 or 100 more years experience.
Right.
Like if you learn from everyone who's better than you, you'll end up getting closer to where they're at rather than trying to blindly like test your way through. Right. It's just going to take so much time.
Yeah. Interesting. But like, what made you even think that you have that potential problem, or not even a problem, but more opportunity to manage the company more efficiently and scale? Like, at that moment, did you feel like it was a problem going on, or you didn't even know that it was a problem? That the fact that you were micromanaging and making the decisions for people?
It's more the fact that I always had big goals.
Yeah.
And I'm not at that goal for a reason, for a lack of knowledge, lack of skills. And it's just, I guess, me understanding that I'm not at point B for a reason, and that's because of what I don't know, what I don't know how to do. And I've always had that mindset of, okay, I can be a bit better if I just learn a bit more.
So it wasn't necessarily like a burning. You didn't necessarily know that you had this problem, but once you had Alex, my dad, analyze the business, he pointed it out for you. Like, hey, you have to be above the system, not in the system, essentially, right?
Yeah, it's one of the, I guess, biggest like shift working with Alex was Alex telling me that we're moving too slow. I was being too careful, and I was being careful because I was thinking like 5 steps ahead of, okay, if we had 5 locations, how can I make the decisions for 5 locations?
Right.
And that mental barrier and not knowing that other people could do it was kind of what capped me in terms of like, oh, I don't think I'm a good manager. I don't have the skill sets to manage as many people, because for me, that was the only way, right, of me making decisions for all my managers rather than having very smart people who can do things better than you.
You
right?
thought that even when you had 5 and 10, you'd still have to make all of this decisions for your managers.
Right.
And then you thought about the time and the energy that it would take for you to do that. It's like, oh, how does that work?
Right. That stress level just kind of multiplies. Like there's no way.
So you knew that you needed something different to be able to grow, but you didn't exactly know what it was.
Right.
And just having someone like to analyze your situation and give you actionable things you felt was that. And how do you feel like you're at now? Like, you feel like this is something that you want to take on really quickly and scale this concept? I mean, we're here in Miami looking at a couple more locations, what the 4th and 5th looking for, right?
Yeah. So that is the goal, to scale to a lot more locations. And I think in my mind, my job is a little different. It's not to like figure out the best systems for the business. It's to figure out how to get the best people and how to kind of lead them to make the best decisions. Because we have a manager, we brought on a pretty bright manager in our second location who likes to do cold coding. He's like computer science guy. He's a restaurant guy. And he builds a lot of like interesting stuff in the back end of like restaurant management.
Right.
But it's just, he doesn't really have a direction of like what's the most important thing to build. And it's just kind of like, my role is find the best people with that raw skill set and kind of leading them to the right direction that yields the most results.
Of course. Like pointing at the top of the mountain and saying like, here's what we're looking for. Setting goals essentially, right?
Right.
And then they figure out how to actually do those.
And then I think at next level, it's kind of teaching them what goals to set.
Yeah.
And that's probably the next thing after learning it.
Having is very, very difficult to teach them. For us, it's easy for it to reduce, but for managers to set goals, it's very difficult.
How come?
That's a big secret. For us, it's so natural, so easy. Only M4 level manager who can set goals.
Okay.
Like CEO of the company. From my experience, that always was a big question for me. Why is that?
Чуть-чуть громче, папа, если можно.
No, it's okay. Never
Yeah. No. Speak. It's a beautiful.
Oh, yeah, громче не могу.
Okay. Say it how you want to say it. I just said louder. I should do louder.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's great. That people are different. You just can you just find the right people in the right place. Can you build a big organization? So you are totally right. Leadership is the most important.
For sure. All right, Wesley, can you talk to me about the second location a little bit? So we opened up the first a while ago. It's like a veteran almost. It's pretty mature. The second location is relatively new. Like what's how do you see these results? Is it a good, excellent, good, great? How do you analyze the results? And why do you think the results are like outperforming projections by so much?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the results are excellent based off like what I initially projected. In terms of why it's doing well, I think I underestimated how good we were in terms of our operations, in terms of our product. We were just being capped out at our first location because of, I would say, just the reach, right? We couldn't reach that many people anymore. Yeah. But for our second location, obviously there's some brand equity in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
But a lot of our customers are coming from further down south than we expected, and I assume those are new customers.
Okay.
Right. And on top of that, we've fine-tuned our product in a way where new customers will enjoy like the V10 version of bowls of rice rather than V1.
Yeah.
A lot of like probably first location customers didn't come back because V1 version of bowls of rice wasn't as good as V10. Right. So they didn't have that experience. So probably the return rate was lower. Right. And that's why it's probably capping out, because we've probably reached a majority of people in the market.
Mm-hmm. So you were projecting 38 orders per day, and you're doing 215 now, right?
Yeah. In the second month, for first month, I projected around 32 orders a day in the first month. Second month, I projected around 40, I think 46. Mm-hmm. And now the second month we hit on average, or the last week we did a average of 216 orders a day, and I think this week we're going to hit 230 orders a day.
230 orders per day. Yeah. So 46 was the expectation for the second month.
Yeah, and in the third month, the expectations were around 60.
Right. So it was a mix of setting wrong expectations because you just didn't understand the power of your brand.
Yes, I think I set those low expectations as well, is because we opened the second location fairly quickly.
Right.
And that kind of adjusted my expectations. And now with more information, I'm readjusting it. And that's why we're looking at locations right now, because that confidence level is a little higher.
Gotcha. Of course. And so I know you did the micro influencer strategy. Do you think that made an impact on these amount of orders per day that you're getting for both of your locations? Because sales have also gone up for your first location as well. What are you at right now, orders per day for the first location?
Orders per day for first location, we're around like 390, but the average order value is higher than the second location because we do catering out of there. So in terms of like weekly sales, the first location is doing about 76,000 a week on average. Second location last week did 39,000.
So you started working with influencers right around that time too of opening up the second location.
Right.
And your sales company wide have grown by 43%.
Yes.
Right. So you think that the micro influencer strategy played a big part in that?
Yeah, I think the micro influencer strategy works. I think we're working with less micro influencers now and more like mid-size influencers.
Yeah.
Because it does save time. And our main number is just cost per impression.
Yeah.
And like just building a system to really get as many impressions as possible. And it's a lot harder to get to our goal impressions with micro influencers versus working with like...
When I say micro influencers, I mean like everyone who's not Kylie Jenner. Like obviously those big time celebrities, The Rock and stuff like that.
Yeah. So yeah, in that sense, yeah, the micro influencer strategy works.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are hesitant to pay these influencers.
Yeah.
But it speeds it up.
They probably just don't know how to budget correctly for them.
Right.
To have, because it's a lower cost per 1,000 impressions rather than paying paid ads.
Right.
So how would you budget for them correctly? Or if you can share, of course, what you do, I think for people watching would be beneficial.
I think the budgeting really depends on each business and the unit economics of each business. Or our budgeting can go a little higher because our cost of goods are in a good place and our labor percentage in a good place. So our prime cost is lower than traditional restaurants. So that gives us a little bit more room for micro influencers. But in terms of budgeting, it depends on each company and what the return on investment the company wants.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just work backwards from there.
Okay, so you just start to project how many people it will reach, how many of them will convert,
Right.
at what AOV, and how many sales can you make, and then like what am I willing to pay for that amount of sales?
Right. Exactly.
That's how they should be thinking, right? Interesting. So obviously, like, working with us is not the reason as to why the company has grown 43%. Of course, it's so much things that you do as the founder, as the person who's taking action, leading. Like, it's definitely 100% your success. But what impact do you think that we made, or my dad more has made, to help you with this growth?
Yeah, it's just the mindset shift and like the systems of management on how to do it at a bigger level, at a bigger scale. It is very important.
Mhm.
If I didn't work with Alex, I probably would have still not signed the third location until like a month or two later. But it's just the speed
Right.
has ramped up based off like just the information I have, and like just understanding that is the biggest difference, right?
Mhm.
All the other stuff can kind of work itself out, but like having someone to guide you to tell you like you're moving too slow
Yeah.
is a game changer.
Yeah. Which is also not typical, because I feel like a lot of even our students in restaurants that we've seen, maybe they're not at a stage where they need growth. Like, they're at a stage where they need systemization of their existing business. But like the first time my dad had a conversation with you, he told you right away, like, we have to grow this really quickly. So you had like a really good foundation there.
It's very rare in business that you have such a good numbers. That's why you have to seize the opportunity.
I have a good question.
Business model is you figure out the business model with product, mass marketing, product, mass marketing, and on top of this you need management, product marketing. It's working on the 2 kitchens, but if you want to work on the 100 kitchens, you just need to train management. It's the farthest. For most, for you, Google, no problem with your intelligence, and for most business owners, is the hardest. Even if they have a great model, profit, marketing, they only can work on 1 or 2 locations. That's it. Also, they cannot do this mind shift. Sounds very simple. For you, it's simply you caught it right away. My ideas, but you probably saw other students there. They understand, but they need to change yourself. Understand is not enough. Understand is simple. Change your very important approach.
Wesley,
You have to become not decision maker. You have to become a teacher. Teach them how to make decisions. It's this shift. And most of the entrepreneurs, they don't like to be teachers. They don't have this talent. I have this talent, teacher's talent, and I use this talent in being in businesses. I teach for my managers, and they make decisions, because as the company grows, when you by yourself, let's say you make 20 decisions per day, and you do it all themselves yourself. When you have 10 people, 200 decisions per day. You have to make less. Overall, more decisions, but you make less decisions. So you have to make already 15 decisions per day. When you grow up to the Jeff Bezos level, he makes 3 decisions per day. Overall, the company makes millions decisions per, and he makes only 3. What does that mean? That in order in the that what does it mean? In order, the only one thing to be successful is to teach other people to make put the put not right, sometimes right, sometimes wrong, good decisions. So your main job is to teach whole organization. You empower them to decide, not to be afraid to make decisions, and then correct if it's wrong. The most important is culture of culture that you create. I saw
What's up with your brakes, Bob?
I saw pretty good managers, but they create culture when people are afraid. They punish too much for mistakes. I always create a culture when they're like free to make decisions. But we, since we have result analysis and action system and 7 steps, so we constantly evaluate every decision that they make. We see right away results, and we analyze the results and correct the results. Correct. So the company grows. The thing we're talking right now, they're making decisions when they're there. I have 700 locations right now. They're making decisions. So that's the way to scale for big company, to teach them to make decisions, but not only to make decisions, then see results, then analyze decision results, this analyze decision, this circle. And if you force them, otherwise they will not do it. If you just tell them, you give them an option to do it in writing, that's it. Otherwise they will, if it's not in writing, first of all, you are never sure that they did it. But when you can read the whole process, this is the result. Yesterday, the result. This is what I think about it, and that's what I'm gonna do. Always these 3 things.
How does the time you're spending in the daily operations, Wesley, compared to when you had 1 location, compared to now where you have 2, and also working on this 3rd one, which is a bit time consuming as well, right? How does that compare? Like,
If you're building a company correctly, you spend less. The more company grows, the less time you spend. Less meaning, I'll explain you what I mean. I am a workaholic. I work 7 days a week anyway, but I mean less working on the origin. When you start, everything is origin. Origin meaning if you don't do it, everything will stop. But if you grow the company correctly, less and less you have origin. Now I don't have. I have 0 origin. I can work all day, but only on important, on the P&L of the next year, not this year P&L. Operational people, they work on that this year P&L. I already work 3 years from now. I'm just working on important, but not urgent. But bad managers, they work on all day on important and urgent. This is bad. I mean, for CEO, for operational guy, yes, they always work on the urgent and important. But for number 1 person, he has to work on important but not urgent. Not to be a firefighter. But in order not to be a firefighter, you have to have firefighters. Example, if something will happen right now in the business, somebody other than you will fix it. Plus, all organization, they are working on the improvement of the system, that it will never happen again. So they analyze every fuck up. So the whole working business is fuck up and then creation of the process. Fuck up and creation of the process. So when I create a culture in my companies, when we have a fuck up, we celebrate. So why? Because it's an opportunity to create a fuck up is an opportunity to create a process. So it will never happen again. Why I celebrate? Because I know that it will happen again and again. The important that we have different fuck ups, different kind of. And in a small company, they have the same fuck ups. And if you will teach them to improve without you, so first level is you teach them to improve. You teach them to improve with you. So you always, in the meeting with them, you teach them the right mentality, how to think, how to approach, and then they start improving without. That's the totally different level. Sorry, Lou.
It's okay. No. This is beautiful. It's beautiful part. What did I want to ask? Oh, the time that you were spending in the first location. Yeah, we're actually talking about this right now, right? So you had the one location. Do you feel like you're spending less time now that you have two and opening up the third? Or maybe same time, but just more higher leverage like
Right.
activities?
Right. So I would say the same time, like, because I do like to work.
Yeah.
It's just different type
of work.
like you mentioned, like higher leverage stuff, like more important stuff.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what you were doing before that was less important, and what's the higher leverage activities that you do now?
Yeah. So I would say I was like building the systems for like any issues that I would see in the business, like making the improvements and like having the team like implement the improvements. I think now it's more of less of me making the improvements and more like going back to like, okay, how can we get the right people?
Like, do you agree that this is a problem? Yes. What do we have to do to fix it?
Right.
And they just do it. Is there a specific example that you have, like anything that comes to mind of a specific system that you had to create with your own hands because of a flaw or a fuck up that you know, and then explain also how like it works like now in more recent times, if there was a fuck up, how your managers handle it?
Yeah, so I would say, I guess the most recent improvement that back then I would have to make that update was hiring. Like, so for the hiring processes, I would create all the templates on like what to send out and
How to train them, stuff
how to
like that.
train them, what to improve, in terms of like just integrating to new systems, right?
Okay.
And more recently, one of our team members like implemented a whole new hiring system where it's totally pre-recorded, uses like ChatGPT to analyze each candidate and stuff like that, where I didn't really have to be hands-on, but I was just guiding them the right way of, okay, how can we do this with as much automation as possible? And instead of me making every single decision, they kind of came up with the solution themselves.
You're just like brainstorming with them.
Right.
Okay. So before you were literally sitting down, creating the system. Here's step one, here's step two, here's what every new hire should go through.
Right.
Right. Here's the information that we need from them. Here's the videos that they watch. Right. Here's how we compensate them, and you created the system. But now you just say, hey, we need this new system to be revamped.
Right.
And you had one of your managers basically recraft that system.
Right, exactly.
Saving you time. Interesting. Very interesting. So what do you feel like you spend a lot of your time now doing? Majority of your time, where does it go?
I do a lot more thinking now.
Yeah.
In terms of like the planning of like, okay, what is the right route, and just analyzing more of, I think, a more scaled back of, okay, which locations, why these locations, rather than why this business process.
Right. It's a lot more thinking now, a lot more strategic. Mm-hmm.
Why Miami better than Texas, you think?
Yeah, so Miami's better in Texas because of back to the population density. Texas is, from what I remember, about like 70% of our south location, our second location, and Miami is the Wynwood one is closer to 85% in terms of population density. So we want to get as close. The goal is to get as close as possible to our current location.
Well, are you comparing to successful one? It
Right.
looks more similar.
Mhm.
Miami location more similar than
Mhm.
any other.
Yeah, since it's like a further region, anyways, I think it's a safer bet to go with one with a more population density. Yeah, to have like a stronger dry powder as we grow because it will give us better stepping stone to hit the more unknown locations.
Right, I agree. What about Los Angeles, New York?
Mhm.
Have you checked?
Haven't really checked those numbers. There are a lot of people over there in terms of like they have a lot more kitchens in Los Angeles in the West Coast compared to like the regions we're looking at. So for I think for Los Angeles area they have 5 or 6 just in the Los Angeles area, right? But
5 or 6 kitchens.
yep,
New York, you haven't checked yet.
they didn't give me the exact numbers for population density, but I do like to check the website, the food hall website, to see what's going on. And from checking out there, it doesn't seem like it is as good as an option compared to like a Miami or like Texas.
Why not as good? Because density is
Density.
in New York. Density is very dense.
Maybe competition might be a big one.
You think in New York and Los Angeles big more competition?
Because I know they have one in Times Square. From what I heard, that one might not be performing very well for some reason, even in Times Square.
Wow.
Because I feel like a lot of people, they just go downstairs to get food in Times Square because everything's always open.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Many options on the street. Yes.
For like in South Brooklyn, where I live, past like 10 o'clock. I mean, even during the day, you don't really. There's not a lot of options to order. You know, you'll have like Popeyes and all that fast food junk. There's not really good food to order typically. I feel like something like that in South Brooklyn, but there's no location in South Brooklyn. The only location that covers the South Brooklyn area is the Flushing location. I think they have one
Flushing.
in Flushing. Do they? Cloud Kitchen.
I think they have a couple.
It's in Utica or something like that.
But Flushing is the Queens.
No, not Flushing.
Flatbush.
Maybe Flatbush. Not Flushing, no. It's like by a little bit above Canarsie. Flatlands.
Flatland.
Maybe Flatland.
Your parents also business people?
They had a small business. Growing up, they ran a restaurant growing up. But they like to do everything themselves. In terms of just
They have a small rest.
when I was growing up, not anymore.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
So you help them in the rest?
Yeah, I would go and like do dishes for them growing up to help out. They didn't really need the help, but it's just to make me do something.
Nice. In Chicago, right?
In Chicago.
Your brother and sister.
I have one older brother.
He's a business.
He's a lawyer,
Lawyer.
but he does his own law firm.
Corporate.
Not corporate. So he was was it a legal something at Ernest and Young at one point, but Then he decided to do his own thing, to start his own law firm.
Mm-hmm. Legal counselor.
Yep.
And you started business right after college?
Yeah, I started an e-commerce business right after college. Just
selling on
yes,
Amazon.
on Shopify. Just created my own store, started selling there.
So
Learned a lot of stuff and did better.
very competitive, right?
What I think when I first started, it was a little less competitive. But yeah, so it kind of allowed me to learn a lot more about like the marketing side of like being online, and I think that mindset makes us a little different compared to like all the restaurants coming in into like a cloud kitchens or a ghost kitchen.
Yeah, they don't have online mindset, online marketing.
You think that's the most important thing for success in the cloud kitchen model is marketing?
I think product is the important thing.
But to get new customers in, it's obviously marketing.
Right. Yeah, so I think like number one is product. Number two is marketing, for sure.
Are you planning to develop more your website and sell more through the website, or focus on the aggregators?
So we've been trying. We have our own website now, and like doing the influencer marketing does push more people to the website. But what we notice is like the customers we get from the aggregators stay on the aggregators because that's their buying habits. It's kind of like people buying on Amazon. They rarely get off Amazon and buy on their personal website.
And customers who come through the website, they stay on this.
They stay on the website. Yeah.
What's the percent? No, 10.
No, it's 10. It just as the website grows, the aggregators kind of grow. So that percentage, it never really over
this. But website is also growing.
Yep.
But when you advertise through influencer, you send people to the website or to the aggregator, the influencer.
So we don't really give them a specific link, just like send them here.
Just name of the brand.
Just name of the brand.
Start searching.
And wherever the person searching wants to order from.
But much more profitable if he orders from the website.
Right.
What's the commission on delivery? If orders, you don't have your own delivery people.
Right.
So what's the commission that you pay?
So on our website, the delivery is like a $7 fee. So you can kind of split that fixed fee. Yeah. You split that charge with the customer and yourself. Right now we do a 50-50 split.
So 3.5. 3.5, average order is 27. So it's like 12% or something.
Right.
12%. And if he orders through the customer orders through the aggregator, you pay 30.
On average, on Uber it's 23%. On DoorDash is 25. And Grubhub is 30.
So 23, 25 compared to 12.
Right.
So double the profit.
Right.
It's very profitable.
Very well. For some reason, even in Times Square.
Wow.
Because I feel like a lot of people, they just go downstairs to get food in Times Square. Because everything's always open.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Many options on the street. Yes.
For like in South Brooklyn, where I live, past like 10 o'clock. I mean, even during the day, you don't really. There's not a lot of options to order. You know, you'll have like Popeyes and all that fast food junk. There's not really good food to order typically. And I feel like something like that in South Brooklyn, but there's no location in South Brooklyn. The only location that covers the South Brooklyn area is the Flushing location. I think they have one
Flushing.
in Flushing.
Mm.
Do they? Cloud Kitchen.
I think they have a couple.
It's in Utica or something like that.
But Flushing is the Queens.
No, not Flushing. Flatbush. Maybe Flatbush. Not Flushing, no. It's like by a little bit above Canarsie. Flatlands.
Flatland.
Maybe Flatland.
Your parents also business people?
They had a small business. Growing up, they ran a restaurant growing up. But they like to do everything themselves. In terms of just
They have a small rest?
when I was growing up, not anymore.
Ah.
Mhm.
So you help them in the rest?
Yeah, I would go and like do dishes for them growing up to help out. They didn't really need the help, but it's just to make me do something.
Nice. In Chicago, right?
In Chicago.
Your brother and sister?
I have one older brother. Mm-hmm.
He's a business?
He's a lawyer,
Lawyer.
but he does his own law firm. Mm-hmm.
Corporate?
Not corporate. So he was what was it? A legal something at Ernest and Young at one point,
Mm-hmm.
but then he decided to do his own thing, to start his own law firm.
Mm-hmm. Legal counselor.
Yep.
And you started business right after college?
Yeah, I started an e-commerce business right after college. Just
selling on
yes,
Amazon?
on Shopify. Just created my own store, started selling there.
So
Learned a lot of stuff into better.
very competitive, right?
What I think when I first started, it was a little less competitive. But yeah, so it kind of allowed me to learn a lot more about like the marketing side of like being online, and I think that mindset makes us a little different compared to like all the restaurants coming into like a cloud kitchens or a ghost kitchen.
Yeah, they don't have online mindset, online marketing.
You think that's the most important thing for success in the cloud kitchen model is marketing?
I think product is the important thing. Mm-hmm.
But to get new customers in, it's obviously marketing.
Right. Yeah, so I think like number one is product. Number two is marketing, for sure.
Are you planning to develop more your website and sell more through the website, or focus on the aggregators?
So we've been trying. We have our own website now, and like doing the influencer marketing does push more people to the website. But what we notice is like the customers we get from the aggregators stay on the aggregators because that's their buying habits. It's kind of like people buying on Amazon. They rarely get off Amazon and buy on the personal website.
Mm-hmm. And customers who come through the website, they stay on this.
They stay on the website. Yep.
What's the percent? No, 10.
No, it's 10. It's just as the website grows, the aggregators kind of grow. So that percentage, it never really
Over this is, but website is also growing.
Yep.
But when you advertise through influencer, you send people to the website or to the aggregator, the influencer.
Mm-hmm. So we don't really give them a specific link to like send them here.
Just name of the brand.
Just name of the
They
brand.
start searching.
Mm-hmm. And wherever the person searching
But
wants to order from.
But much more profitable if he orders from the website.
Right.
What's the commission on delivery? If orders, you don't have your own delivery people.
Right.
So what's the commission that you?
So on our website, the delivery is like a $7 fee. So you can kind of split that fixed fee. Yeah. You split that charge with the customer and yourself. Right now we do a 50-50 split.
So 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
3.5. Average order is 28, 27.
Mhm.
So it's like 12% or something.
Right.
Mm-hmm. 12%. And if he orders through the customer orders through the aggregator, you pay 30.
On average, on Uber it's 23%. On DoorDash is 25, and Grubhub is 30.
So 23, 25 compared to 12.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So double the profit.
Right.
So it's very profitable.